strategy consultant.
My name is Jeff Wang and I'm senior partner.
My name is Malcolm O'Brien and I am senior associate.
I'm Jan Weta and I'm a senior business management expert.
We are Pureliving's consulting team from Marge & Olson Company. We are here today to present our findings and recommendations, and from our extensive research, we have identified a single largest issue that will affect Pureliving's future. Before we get to that, let's first go over what the company looks like today, and let's hear from our experts. The technology required for success in the indoor environment consulting industry is described by the knowledge, ability, and techniques required to transform client-expressed needs into feasible plans. In its early years, Pureliving's unique selling proposition was expert knowledge in environmental consulting services. Pureliving was able to improve indoor environment quality in a way that better met the needs of their clients. However, understanding of the technology in the industry has increased among competitors and potential entrants to the market. Technology advancements are reducing the barrier to obtaining sufficient knowledge to conduct indoor environment consulting. The impact of Pureliving is that it is no longer one of the only firms operating in its industry, and it lacks any sustainable competitive advantages that differentiate Pureliving from its competitors. The status of Pureliving as a market leader is greatly threatened by the increased accessibility of technology in the industry. Pureliving needs to look for ways to set itself apart from the pack in order to succeed in the future. Increased emphasis on indoor environment quality on the part of the Chinese government has led to the creation of several standards and regulations. These require and encourage residences and commercial buildings to utilize air and water quality products and services. At the same time, the standards and regulations standardize the output required when doing environmental consulting by mandating what solutions to your clients' needs will look like. Similarly, certification bodies have appeared over the past years, and many of your clients seek to achieve these certifications. To help them do so, your output is once again standardized to the requirements of the certification body. As demand in the industry increases, the industry is growing increasingly attractive to new entrants. Direct competitors are popping up throughout China, and some are rumored to offer better service and cheaper price points than Pureliving. In addition, new consumer-targeted products have decreased the need for residences to undertake residential consulting for their indoor environments. Furthermore, large firms that regularly employ your services may now see benefit in hiring an internal team to produce the same work that you do, reducing your commercial clientele. From these changes, Pureliving's task environment becomes increasingly uncertain. Environmental complexities increase as more firms are operating in the same space and your clients have more choice in their consumption decisions. At the same time, environmental stability is decreased because greater competition reduces your ability to predict customer preferences in the future. A big impact of these changes is that the two dimensions of technology identified by Charles Perrow are changing. Task analyzability is increased because government regulations and certification bodies have set standards for output, and so clients' needs become increasingly similar, and it becomes increasingly easier to reduce solutions for clients' needs into explicit techniques. Task variety remains moderately high because much of your work depends on the specifics of your client's needs, but task variety has decreased a bit due to the standardization of output. This changes the nature of the technology from non-routine to engineering. Consequently, the way you do business will have to change. Pureliving currently has a functional structure where each department encompasses a single function. Pureliving's choice of a functional structure is concerning because each project operates in a matrix-like fashion where tasks are grouped by both function and project. In a single project, each department has specialized individuals who need to coordinate the work between them. The current functional structure does not allow effective coordination at the project level, and communication channels are restricted for example, by geographical separation of departments. Pureliving has a tall structure with centralized decision-making, which hampers the speed and accuracy of communication and reduces the ability to coordinate work. Since only upper management has the necessary authority to make many decisions, decision-making is slow and Pureliving experiences a loss of flexibility. This loss of flexibility means that Pureliving is not currently designed to be adaptive to environmental changes. By the time Pureliving is able to react and adapt to environmental changes, it may be too late.
Two of the biggest factors that are hurting Pureliving's employee turnover rate and employee satisfaction will be how its internal organizational communication and decision-making structures are set up. Pureliving currently utilizes a one-way linear communication structure. Information must travel up and down the organization, resulting in both messages taking a long time to deliver and creating noise that leads to increased uncertainty. It is also hard for upper management to decode messages clearly due to frontline workers having more specialized knowledge in their roles. Overall, linear networks are poorly suited for large companies such as Pureliving. Employee satisfaction is severely impacted as linear networks discourages teamwork/collaboration, decreases effective leadership at distant ends, and cause more stress due to inefficiency. The linear communication structure also directly impacts the quality of decision making. Since the messages must travel through multiple levels of the organization, decision making is slow and centralized. This is a chart of Pureliving's project process. As you can see, it is long and tedious and must pass through multiple levels of approval before a decision can be made. Long processes like this are sometimes necessary for large projects. However, it is a big waste of resources for small projects. According to Shannon's information theory, downward communication from upper management dispatched to all employees are often too general and leave open too much room for interpretation. On the other side of that, upward communication is often too specific and complex for upper management to comprehend, as mentioned earlier. On an individual level, the employees follow a bounded rationality model. The workers decide what information to relay to upper management based on their limitations of knowledge and cognitive capacity. Having a linear communication structure alongside with employees following bounded rationality is very dangerous if you're Pureliving, as upper level management consists of solely English native speakers, whereas most employees are Chinese.
As you, our clients, already know, Pureliving develops individually tailored solutions for each client, so constant communication is key to maintaining good rapport with customers. However, this communication is not reflected in how Pureliving operates. Constant communication is hindered by the company's functional division and mechanistic organizational structure. First, focusing on the issues of the company's functional division, the consultants who are the liaison between the company and the client are not being looped back to in all situations. When they are relayed back to, it is only for the approval or rejection of a sales order or report. This poses a potential problem as the consultant might not be in the know, which can disrupt the consistent contact that is necessary between them and the client. Pureliving cannot quickly adapt to changes in the environment, as the time for the proposal to be finalized takes too long and allows for inefficiencies each time information is passed along. Moving on to the mechanistic organizational structure, the decision-making process is too unnecessarily centralized. Throughout this entire process, all employees communicate mainly via email, and contact with senior management requires a report written up for approval. This creates and maintains a large power distance and discourages upward communication, as employees lower down on the totem pole will hesitate to consult or notify directors of any problems to maintain a pristine image of their department. Employees are not empowered, and senior management may have a very different perspective of operations on the front line than the direct managers supervising them, as information is filtered upwards.
As Guy mentioned previously, Pureliving's current technological problem can be visualized like so. In the past, Pureliving has used its expert knowledge in the field of environmental consulting to provide environmental assessments and purification devices at unrivaled cost and quality. This in turn created a unique customer experience, as reports were easy to understand, and a device that could address problems highlighted in the reports could be ordered the same day as the report was completed. However, given the rising access to environmental consulting knowledge, competitors are quickly becoming able to provide products of rival quality and cost. Knowing more is not enough, as they will simply learn too fast. Further, due to rigorous bureaucracy within the company, processes have become too rigid and created inefficiencies that threaten the fast turnaround time and discounted prices that create Pureliving's unique customer experience. As a market leader, Pureliving already owns the majority market share of the environmental consulting market in China. Therefore, its operative goals involve maintaining this market share lead and exploiting it to maximize profits in the long run. So, the following recommendations have been designed to help Pureliving achieve these goals. In knowledge-based industries, such as environmental consulting, success depends on a company's ability to consistently innovate to remain ahead of the competition. Therefore, we have focused on changes that Pureliving can implement to maximize its speed and quality of innovation, as well as improve efficiency to keep costs low. Firstly, to transition from a purely mechanical structure to a more organic structure. As mentioned by Guy and Jeff, Pureliving currently uses a tall, mechanistic, functional organization structure along with a linear communication process. Unfortunately, as Jeff mentioned, this slows down communication and creates dissatisfaction, as employee messages are lost due to noise. This results in resentment, as employees believe they are being ignored. By transitioning to a more organic structure with a reduced chain of command, Pureliving can reduce turnaround time for messages and improve communication quality. In turn, workers can provide innovative suggestions, while managers can provide timely guidance and feedback. Further, as Guy mentioned, a matrix organizational structure with cross-functional teams should prevent any unhealthy internal conflict, as members of each team will be working towards similar goals. Our second recommendation would be to begin decentralizing Pure Living's decision-making process. As Guy mentioned, Pure Living's decision-making process is highly centralized. This, combined with their linear communications model, creates a severe bottleneck on how much information can be processed by their executive-level decision-makers. Unfortunately, this leads to slow response times and lost information. Ashby's law of requisite variety states that as a problem becomes more complex, more information or requisite variety is required to solve it. By distributing decision-making amongst employees, Pure Living can relieve cognitive load from their executive level members and therefore process more and different kinds of information. This in turn should increase their requisite variety to match the rising complexity of the environmental consulting market and therefore allow them to make better and faster decisions. Our third and last recommendation is that Pure Living transition from the internal process model of organizational effectiveness to the strategic alignment model of organizational effectiveness. Pure Living currently uses the internal processes model, which has unfortunately created KPIs that force efficiency at the cost of effectiveness. For example, even if a project is local, the finance team must submit a standard 5-page report on travel costs, even if said costs do not exist. Then the finance team is judged on their efficiency in creating the report. The strategic adaptations model instead focuses on the interaction between internal processes of Pure Living as well as the environment it operates in. Adopting this model will help Pure Living integrate feedback from internal and external stakeholders to improve its business processes and therefore achieve a better organizational environment fit. In addition, by changing perspective, Pure Living can also pursue activities that actively attempt to influence the environment to achieve better fit. For example, partnering with suppliers for air and water purification products could allow Pure Living to integrate them into their supply chain and reduce uncertainty in serving clients.